This is a pretty big flower. They're pretty spectacular looking. It's very big. Here's a few more. They're all over the place. And then I've been seeing them around here somewhere. Got a few of these. They're already pretty good, and they're really heavy, really dense. Seminole pumpkins. These things are popping up all over the place. I gotta be careful not to step on them. So this forest floor is covered with leaves, which seems to have done a pretty good job of keeping the weeds down. So my thinking is if I just kind of let the leaves fall from this tree, eventually it will, and these leaves as well, these leaves will fall and hopefully cover the ground. And but I kind of like these things. Are pretty nice. I like these. They've got big berries on them, making jam. And I'm probably going to let this spinach go. This is my Mexican spinach. I'm going to have a bunch of this going. So I put this fence up, and the chickens were jumping over it. So I extended it. That's up about 9 or 10 feet tall. And I did this just about, I want to say maybe a month ago. And it is turning into a green living wall. And those chickens, they're not flying over it. I'm still not done, but I got to finish it. I still got another 10 or 12 feet to go. But the vines out here are really aggressive, and they'll just grow up into the trees. And I'm just letting this go. This is letting it revert back to its natural habitat. And since I've done this used to all be lawn, and I would have to mow it. In the summertime, I have to mow it every 2 weeks with a push mower. But now, I'm obviously not doing that. I'm just weeding. But I've got cottontail rabbits living in here now, and they're starting to become pretty prolific. And I think the dogs might be working on herding them a little bit, or maybe eating them. This is a pigeon pea. It's already 7 or 8 feet tall. I've got 3 or 4 of them over here. This is my Everglades tomato, and the tomatoes are starting to fall off. These are the best. These are the best tasting tomatoes I've ever had. It's like eating a beefsteak tomato. It's like eating a big, huge beefsteak tomato. They've taken all the flavor from a beefsteak tomato and crammed it into this tiny little marble-sized tomato. They are really good. They're just falling off the branches now. But this thing is gonna produce like crazy. My okra coming up some more. That one's just about ready to harvest right there. I plant a whole bunch more of this stuff, all planted here, around here. I just saw that this little spinach plant, it's got a bunch of really nice white flowers. It was blooming the other day. It's pretty neat. That's my blue spur flower. It's supposed to have spurs like this. This is not a blue spur flower, but it has flowers like that. But this is what people used to use before the advent of toilet paper. They'd use these leaves as toilet paper. They'd plant them out around their outhouse. And I have got quite a bit of that stuff growing here. This is my Malabar spinach, which is doing... I thought that was a caterpillar for a second. This is doing pretty good, and it's starting to bloom. These are all blooms here. They're just starting to come out. So we'll see what that looks like. And I don't know what that thing is. I've got a bunch of this. I order these seeds from these different companies, and then they'll send me extra seeds, bonus seeds that I didn't order, and I don't know what they are. And so I plant them, and I have no idea what's coming up. I don't even know if it's a flower, if it's something you can eat. And some of these things are from China, and somebody told me, "Oh, you're not supposed to plant the stuff from China." Well, too late now, and I don't remember what was from China and what wasn't. But they're all doing that. They're all sending me stuff that I didn't order. These are dates. And I planted these things all over. I got these things growing all over the place. There's another one over there. But I'm hoping. I've got some in pots too. I'm gonna have to cover these when it freezes, or if it freezes. Another one. But I really love these dates. These are, I can't remember the name of them now. I think I've got two different kinds. These spinach plants grow in swampy, they call it swamp cabbage. That's one of its names. So I've just got it sitting in this standing water, and they're not really growing that great, but they should be okay. And I've been transplanting this stuff wherever I can find swampy areas. So these flowers have turned into berries, and I've got a lot of these berries growing, beauty berries growing here on the property. And the nice thing about them is, you get down toward the base of the plant and got all these clusters that are ready to harvest. So I really should harvest this and start making some jam, because I can get this all canned, and by the time I get done with that, these will be ready to harvest and can. This is just one plant, and I've got probably a couple, maybe at least 2 or 3 dozen of these plants in my yard. So I got enough jam to last me the next few years probably. These are my cucumbers, which I'm really excited about. These should grow here. Every cucumber I've grown doesn't make it. Same thing with tomatoes and peppers too, but I've got these cucumbers, and then I got my peppers here. These peppers are supposed to, they're going to take about 45 days to germinate. I planted them a couple weeks ago, so I'm not going to see anything from them for a while. Here too, I think. But then I've got my tomatoes, my cucumbers, my peppers, and my spinach. So I've got everything to make a salad, that's kind of my goal. That's all okra, which I've discovered I really like, so I'm planting a lot of okra right now. And there's, I think that's an onion. That's my longevity spinach. I've got 5 different kinds of spinach growing here. So one of my other excuses for not pulling the weeds is they say it provides a lot of cover for bugs. and I'm kind of letting my free-range chickens roam around here and eat the bugs. And I put out this brewer's barley for them. They eat that. This is a really good deal. A 50-pound bag of chicken feed is $16, and I can get 400 pounds of brewer's barley for $25. So it's a really, really good deal. So my corn has been pretty much a dismal failure. It's all pretty much dead. My spinach is doing okay, not doing great, but I'm experimenting. I'm planting it in different places to see where it does well. And this is in the shade, so it gets a lot of shade, so it's not very tall. I've got some out in the front yard. They're getting full sun, and they're about 6 or 7 feet tall, which is good. And this is all beautyberry back here. And this is my cherry tree. It has not produced anything. These I've got half a dozen of these blueberries, and they all produce blueberries, but the birds got them. Birds got all of the blueberries. One day they were there, and the next day they were all gone. And here's my moringa, and this is a root crop. I forget the name of it. Cassava, or I can't think of the name of it now. I think it's cassava or yucca. It's a yucca plant, and this is really, it produces a really big root. The root should be probably, I don't know, 3 to 5 pounds. And I think I've got maybe a dozen of these things. And in November, when it's time to harvest, I can cut these pieces into 1-foot sections and stick them in the ground. And that's what this is. This is just a 1-foot section that was stuck in the ground. And I'm going to have that stuff growing everywhere because I really like these root crops. And I think that's a bean. These are bean plants over here. That's a bean. There's a bean. There's a bean over there. I got some beans there. This is another little moringa tree. Some of them grow good, some of them don't. I think this is getting too much shade. I don't know. This is my composting bin, and the chickens come over here and eat a lot of junk that I throw over here. And this has really been a disappointment. This is my loquat tree, which is, I planted this thing here. I bet it must have been at least 6 to 8 months ago. It has not grown at all. It's got some leaves, some bigger leaves on it, but it was this tall when I planted it. It has not. This right here might be. This is the only new growth it's had in 6 months. So that's pretty disappointing. That's not going to produce anything for forever. Here's another yucca plant. And this is a little bit better looking moringa tree. This one's getting a little bit more sun, so it's getting taller. And this blueberry's dying back. I don't know what's going on here. Here's another yucca, and got some pigeon peas growing there in the weeds. And the birds really like to. The chickens and the guinea fowl, they've been coming over here. This tomato was growing on the other side of the fence, but they trampled it. They trampled it all down over there. I don't think it might not even be growing at all. Oh, no, there's a little bit growing there. A little bit of beautyberry, or a lot of beautyberry, but a little bit of Seminole pumpkin growing over here. But they pretty much, I had corn growing all along here and beans, and it looks like the corn is all gone. And I don't see any beans either. This actually looks like it's kind of leaning a little bit. I hope it doesn't fall over. Here's a good sized moringa tree. I had a really good pepper growing. Here it is. Almost can't see it with all this other stuff growing here. I really need to come out here and pull these weeds, but Oh, and there's the guinea fowl. This is a good sized moringa tree here. That thing's at least 10 or 12 feet tall. And oh, there he goes. And that's a good sized one. This one's actually got some flowers on it. You're supposed to, I'm going to let that one flower out just to see what it looks like. And then this one, and I've had a bunch of these moringas bend over for some reason. I don't know what happens. They just kind of start leaning over. I don't know what to do about it. I'm just going to let them do it. Just let them lean over and see what happens. I bought about a dozen asparagus crowns, and I've got two. There's this one and this one. And they're so frail, I don't know if they're going to make it. But they're still alive. But only 2 out of a dozen survived. And they're still alive. I don't know if they're... We'll see. So my orange tree is producing some oranges, but they seem to just start to turn yellow. Not quite orange, and they fall on the ground. So I don't know what to do. These are kind of aren't so great looking.